Chopra, and I'm in my office here. We can show the office a little bit to everyone. And this is at the Chopra Center in Carlsbad, California. And I have the pleasure right now of having a conversation with David Hertz. We'll talk a little bit about his book. But before that, I want to start the conversation by asking David a few questions. He happened to come yesterday and sat through some of the course we were doing here this weekend. So let's start the conversation. David, how would you describe yourself?
I'm an architect, but I really think of myself more as a systems thinker.
And you were telling me about your invention. May I call it that?
Yeah, I didn't actually invent it. I've been really taking that invention, the patent, which was patented in Florida, and actually the machines are made in India. But I've brought them to California and expanding them around the world to bring water made from air to people in need around the world.
So let's talk about that. How do you make water from air?
Well, you know,
magic, huh?
it sounds like alchemy, and frankly, it sounds too good to be true. And when I first heard of it, I tried a machine, and we currently in my office in Venice, we use solar energy to make about 150 gallons of water, fresh drinkable water per day, which we give away to the community. As it turns out, the ocean evaporates into the troposphere every day, and every week it is completely renewed. It's fresh distilled water, and there's more water than if you were to condense it than all the rivers on the planet. And so we have a world water crisis. We certainly have a crisis in California, and using these technologies to put kind of proverbial straws in the sky rather than in the ground for ideally a point of use, distributed water, so people can make their own water and have water self-reliance.
No matter where they are, right?
No matter where they are, if they can co-locate with heat and humidity. And that's where we're using alternative energy to make water to grow food and to create jobs. So that's the systems thinking. But most areas where, if you look at the world, most areas where there's water scarcity and water quality problems actually correlate quite well with atmospheric water generation because they're hot and humid most of the time by the coast.
So, but generally speaking, you could do this anywhere, right?
Yes.
Florida
is the perfect climate to make atmospheric water, especially because of its heat and humidity.
And then that water can be used, of course, for anything, but including brewing food.
You know, one of the things that we found is that, unfortunately, our water supply, I mean, it's amazing when you think about water, right? Because water came here from outer space. It's the same amount of water that we've always had. It's not going
anywhere. So does everybody know that water came from outer space? Everything came from outer space.
Everything.
And we are ourselves a spaceship in space out there, right?
The only
we
known living
talk
thing.
about space out there, but we're already in space, right?
That's right. We are.
But, okay, so what
as Buckminster Fuller said, spaceship Earth.
Spaceship
and the only known living thing in the universe. But yeah, it's a closed system. And when people say, oh, well, throw it away, what is away, right? There is.
And the amount of water on planet Earth is the same.
It's the same, and it changes the state. The amazing thing is that there's only 3% of all the water on planet Earth is fresh water. It's not salt water. And of that, half of it is frozen. So you have 1.5% of all water on the planet is even drinkable. Now of that, much of that is in the ground, is unfortunately also contaminated or locked up in rivers or streams. So about 0.22%, doesn't sound like a lot, but it turns out that it's 37.5 million billion gallons a day of water that's able to be harvested efficiently from our atmosphere.
And the water is, of course, circulating through us. Our body is 65%, maybe 70% water. We call this planet Earth, but it's mostly planet ocean, right? And our health right according to a lot of people, the water that's circulating through our bodies has a lot of toxins, has a lot of carcinogens, has a lot of antibiotics, a lot of pharmaceuticals, because, people consume these things, animals have fed these things. And so if you look at somebody's blood supply and you look for these toxins, they're part of us. And one of the things we emphasize at the Chopra Center is not to ingest toxins in any form if you can help it. And this water that you're generating from the air instead of from the earth, this would be free of toxins, I presume, relatively compared to the toxic water supply coming from the earth.
It's one of the purest forms of water because it's gone through a hydrological cleansing. So, unfortunately, what we find is that water has a memory. Everything that it comes in contact with, it keeps. It does. It's fascinating. And if we ingest pharmaceuticals,
where in the water molecule is the memory?
I don't know exactly where it is, but I know that it's been quite well analyzed, and we know that, right? We know that whatever it comes in contact with. So if there's pharmaceuticals, for instance, and they're in the water supply, they stay in the water supply.
Pharmaceuticals, hormones, antibiotics, you name it, petroleum products, right? Because there's a lot of petroleum that's used in industrial food production. So all that is going into our bodies right now.
Right, and every living being on the planet is made of water. And you can't have, it's the single most important substance, obviously.
Yeah, we're looking for life on other planets. What do we look for first? It's
water,
right? Water. Okay, so you're a systems thinker, and I love that. What's your vision for the planet ocean?
The blue dot.
Yeah, blue dot.
I envision a model that looks at distributed water. Oftentimes there's a privatization of our common good, our water supply. It's a fundamental human right, and I believe that everyone should have access to clean water around the world. And the best way to combat privatization of water or control of water is to make it yourself. And so following our distributed energy model, where instead of taking energy or water from long distances, we should be able to make it at the site. So it's point of use, fit for purpose water. If you need water for agriculture, that's fit for purpose. But atmospheric water is essentially pure distilled water, and as your friend and colleague, Dr. Andrew Weil, taught, it's about the purest form of water because the distilled water is a neutral base, a neutral pH in terms of alkalinity, and a quality that's stripped, but not stripped in an artificial way like reverse osmosis or other things that make kind of dead water. It's living water. It's essentially atmospheric rain.
So you were very kind to bring me this book as a gift, The Restorative Home, Ecological Houses. And this is a beautiful picture on the cover. Tell me a little bit about this house.
This is a house that I designed a couple years back on a beautiful mountain site overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and I made it out of the wings of a 747. These are the left and right wings, and these are the two horizontal tail stabilizers. And so it was a way to speak about radical reuse and repurposing. Analyzing what we take, make, and waste, and how we have a linear society that often creates a lot of waste, and we have thousands of airplanes desiccating in the desert of obsolescence in California, and taking some of that and doing a radical repurposing of this object, which was already designed to be the most efficient use of resources to achieve the highest strength, the lightest weight, that would be devalued, right? It would be downcycled, made into a soda can. So I was interested in upcycling it and ultimately creating a sublime architectural work where you live under the wings of an airplane, that you are connected to nature, and you're able to really see the beautiful sculptural aspects of that wing.
You're an architect?
Yes.
There you are. And so, if I look at in this book, you've got a number of extraordinary homes, right, that are ecologically friendly, that have the same technology, right?
Yes. Part of what I've been interested in is, especially in these works of home, is the restorative home is about a place that is free of chemicals, free of electromagnetic fields, that put you in contact with nature, with natural materials, so that maybe you can't escape from the bombardment of a, say, an urban society, but at least when you come home, especially when you sleep, that should be a restorative environment and let you be free of all those burdens and connect you to the natural world.
David, can you use your technology in a desert, for example?
In the desert, it's often very dry, but one of the things that we're interested in is co-locating. Using systems thinking, you realize that plants evapotranspire. They create a lot of humidity. And in a greenhouse, you get abundant free solar energy. But you also have too much humidity in a greenhouse. So we're very interested in putting atmospheric water generators using this kind of sky source to put them in the greenhouse to regulate the humidity, extract that, and have this closed loop system with the plant. So you have this symbiotic relationship with atmospheric water, regulating humidity, creating food, and then, of course, using solar energy. And we've never been at a better time for the cost has come so far down for alternative energy.
So, I think everyone knows this, but I will reinforce it. If you put an animal, a mammal, or any other animal that breathes in oxygen in a vacuum, it'll die. If you put a plant in the same vacuum, it'll die. Put them both together and they both live, right? This is our ecosystem where everything left to itself is self-organizing, self-correcting, self-evolving spontaneously. We messed that up, right? With climate change, with extinction of species, with all the things that we've done to the earth, to the atmosphere. And many people say, if there's going to be another extinction, it will be because of the human species, and not only the human species, but the capacities that human species have through having created technology. Because technology is basically also part of our evolution. It's unstoppable. It's technology that created climate change, indirectly. Technology, industrial food production, that despoiled the earth. With technology, we have mechanized death in the form of weapons. And so we are in a moment right now where some people say it's too late, right, to reverse anything, that it's inevitable. Within a generation to 3 generations, we risk mass extinction. But as I talk to you, I'm seeing another vision, just the kind of synchronization of optimizing the energy, the water, the resources of our planet. The planet is by itself a recycling plant. You said the same amount of water since the earth was formed, right? So everything is being recycled. It's the best recycling plant is nature.
Right.
But you're saying is now with creative thinking, we can actually possibly repair what the damage we have created.
We have to do more because we have created damage. So the idea of a regenerative or restorative technology, I don't blame technology, I blame man,
Humans.
right? But
humans who are disconnected from their source.
Correct. Or just lack the knowledge about the impact that man could have, right? We look out at the ocean, we look, and it looks
I'm glad you're
infinite.
saying man, because men did it mostly.
Right. The technology is the weapon, and our intelligence was used in an adolescent way, without full consequence of our actions. But now I think we're becoming aware of the consequences. We're realizing that things that look infinite are finite, that we're on the spaceship Earth, and that everything we take, make, and waste is along with the journey. And so I think that man can use its ingenuity to create technologies that lessen the impacts, and I'm really see my place in the world as an architect as one that has to rationalize my place between the built environment and the natural, because the built environment is destructive. So how can we lessen our impacts?
It seems like a good place to start, right? So how can we collaborate with you? How can we help you, and how can you help us? Our goal as our mission here at Chopra Foundation, at Jaya.com, at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing, is help create that critical mass of consciousness that accelerates the creation of a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, happier planet or world. And all these things are connected. Love, compassion, joy, equanimity, but those are useless without action. I've heard it said somewhere that love without action is irrelevant, and action without love is meaningless, but love in action can be very powerful. We'd love to spread the word, first of all, on various social media. We'd like to engage people in this conversation, and we'd like to also help you fulfill your vision with other collaborators. So first of all, people, you're invited to join this conversation on Jaya.com. We will have a special channel there, Creating a Better World. So please join this conversation, and we'll create a discussion board around this idea, creating a better world, with David Hertz, but also with other people. And with your input, perhaps we can embark on the greatest adventure humans have ever taken. And the adventure is creating a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, joyful world. What else can we do to help you?
Well, you mentioned love and action, and I'm working on this project with my wife, Laura Das Hertz, and we've created this skysource.org, and we're working with a nonprofit called Go Campaign with our Go Water Initiative, and the idea is how can we work together to bring technology to those that have water concerns worldwide.
So what's the website you just mentioned?
So our website is skysource.org, and on that you'll also see a link to the Go Water Initiative, which is our nonprofit working primarily with children to bring water to children. It's also, the issues of water worldwide is very much tied to some of the issues we're talking about, even with women's rights, as we had yesterday, and is emerging in our country, because women often have the responsibility, and young girls, to walk for water, sometimes 6 hours a day, in many places, and they're in a particular position of vulnerability. So the nonprofit I was working with, they talked about putting a well in a local community. It was vandalized, and they couldn't find out why was it vandalized. Who would vandalize a well? We're bringing water. The women were vandalizing it because they wanted to continue their social time away from the men and do their walk for water. So part of what Laura and I have been interested in is how can we work with women's cooperatives in schools with kids to be the bearers of water, right? After all, they're the bearers of life. Water is life.
So just think about this, huh? Social injustice, economic injustice, war, violence, climate change, ecological destruction, poverty, ultimately, as a consequence of devastation, climate refugees, more violence, new epidemics, diseases. It tells us about the interconnectedness of everything in existence. It tells us about the very fundamental fact that there exists no separate self. The separate self doesn't exist. as long as we think only of ourselves, we are in jeopardy for our own well-being, but we also jeopardize the well-being of others, because we are all part of one life. We are all part of one, ultimately, of one consciousness as well, and that's a whole different discussion. But what you have done today with me in this conversation is help clarify the most sacred thing that we can think about, and that is we're all in this together. Our planet depends on its survival on each one of us, and if we can be the change we want to see in the world, then we can collaborate with each other to make that happen. Love in action being the mantra, and let's do it. Thanks, David.
Thank you.